Let's go. Hit the like button on the way in if you don't mind. Appreciate it, ladies and gentlemen. Firing this up real soon. Make yourselves comfy. Smoke them if you got them. We're up here bashing the living shit out of Nazis.
I'm standing up here bashing the living shit out of Nazis.
Because Donald Trump and his cronies are just
fucking Nazis.
Let's go. All right, what do you say we just hop right into it? Welcome, everybody, to Blunt Politics. I'm Boston Brian. It is Wednesday, August 27th, 2025, and we got it all to talk about. Fascism, famine, war crimes, the whole nine yards. So if you would, I would please ask you and implore you to hit that like button on the way in, share the stream out. We are live on this space as well. So howdy to everybody on this space. How's everybody doing? I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Make sure you are supporting independent media. Several ways to do that on this show. Before we get going, let's get that stuff out of the way as well. We could do, just let you know, there's a Venmo up in the corner. You can take a picture with that, send a buck or two, support your independent media. It goes a long way. You can become a channel member for $2.99 just underneath me, less than a gallon of gas, less than a gallon of milk for the month. You can become a Patreon member for as little as $5 a month at patreon.com/Boston Brian. That should be going down the bottom somewhere. And there are super stickers, super chats, and a multitude of other ways you can help on Twitch, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. I appreciate you for being here. Lots to talk about. Yesterday, we discussed, obviously, the horrendous bombing, the double tap, as they're calling it, on the hospital in Gaza. We'll also be talking about how Trump has declared war on our rights and the Constitution, not only our First Amendment, but pretty much every other amendment that we have to. Israeli targeting the Gaza hospital. I said we got Stephen Miller on Hannity. I wanted to take a look at J.B. Pritzker and his words. He's got some fighting words for Donald Trump, and he's responding to Trump's threats. Jen and Pumps from the I've Had It podcast discuss how long they think Trump has to live, which I think everybody is starting to really kind of consider, really talk about at this point. Considering Trump's cankles, Trump's, the discoloration on the back of Trump's hand, his the venous shit that he was diagnosed with. We'll also be talking about Trump's calls for the RICO charges on George Soros's family, the continuation of the weaponization of the DOJ, the FBI, the CIA, anybody that he could possibly weaponize against his political opponents. Donald Trump is trying to do that above and beyond his, authoritarian push, his fascist push with ICE, above and beyond his authoritarian and fascist push with the National Guard, implementing the National Guard in all of the Democrat cities that he doesn't care for. So we've seen that. Lots to talk about. What else do we got? There was we'll be talking about Trump's tariffs on on India, and why the Economic Times doesn't believe they're going to be anywhere near as effective as they think they are. Like I said, J.B. Pritzker. So let's get into it. I appreciate you guys. Thank you first off to the mods. I appreciate you for keeping that chat safe, both on this space and here and on the Blunt Politics side in the chat. So thank you very much. Let's get into thanking some people for being here. El Rondo, thank you very much. Linda Lou, how are you? Yakov, how are you, buddy? What's up, Flipper? Dame Dog, what's up, my dude? Evie's aunt. You guys are all amazing. What up, Jen? How are you? Hi, Jess. Forever Young Gamer. What's going on, guys? Appreciate you for being here. Moms, how are you? Her Story, how are you? What up, Vicky? You guys are amazing. I appreciate all the love and support that you guys show. What up, Bri? How's everybody doing? And again, thank you to the mods for keeping that chat a safe place. First off, I just want to kind of correction or, clarify something that I kind of messed up yesterday. I wanted to apologize and again clarify the point that I was trying to make yesterday. I definitely forgot to add in the fact that I was talking about civilians. That was my fault. So anybody that was offended or thought that I was talking about the total number, that is my apologies once again. I did have the number exactly correct. I just, when I asked the question to the chat that I asked, I didn't specify that I was talking about civilians. So right hand up on my side. I do apologize First thing I wanted to kind of take a look at here on our short show, on our short Wednesday afternoon show, is JB Pritzker and kind of his fight back. You know what I mean? His rhetoric that he's come out with. Let me see if I can put this up on the stage for you guys here. So we'll be doing this. JB's up on the stage here. Now, this is just an example, right? There's a lot of people out there that we could talk about that, at least rhetorically right now, are doing a good job at fighting back against the Republicans, at Donald Trump. JB Pritzker obviously being one of them. But this is, again, I think the model that we need to use as lefties, as progressives, as liberals, as Democrats, whatever you want to call yourself, as anybody against the MAGA movement, as anybody against Donald Trump's authoritarian fascist push here in the United States. If you're against that, oh, thank you, Bri. Let's fucking go, brother. Appreciate that. Thank you for being here for 5 months, my dude. You too can sign up again just underneath me for a membership. And if you hit a milestone every month, you get a free chat. So that's what Bri just took advantage of right there. So I appreciate you, dude. Thank you, man. But yeah, this is, I think, the playbook. This is the blueprint on how to fight back rhetorically, at least in front of cameras, in front of a microphone, when it comes to the Republican Party, conservatives, MAGA, Donald Trump. So I just wanted to play just a little bit of JB's speech here, just a little bit of what he was talking about. Again, this is just in response to the threat of pressure from Donald Trump in Chicago. Again, threatening to use the National Guard all over the country, just as he's done in D.C. And we'll be taking a look at some footage from D.C. of a vet being arrested for using and expressing his First Amendment right to of free speech to burn the American flag, that in which Donald Trump has now just tried to make illegal against the Constitution. So let's just take a look at a few minutes of this, and I just wanted you guys kind of get the feel. Do I keep saying it? I literally, if you can fucking, if I don't, I'm going to do, can anybody just read that? That's my fucking paper that I wrote myself. Why I can't get it right, I don't know. We'll figure it out. Give me a break. It's the second show. Mel just brought in a second reminder. All right. Hand up. I don't know if I got it wrong or not, but if I did, I apologize. All right, let's just take a look at a little bit of JB Pritzker's fighting words here, a little bit of his pushback that he had for Donald Trump. And again, I think this was a couple days ago.
Here in Chicago, our civilian police force and elected leaders work every day to combat crime and to improve public safety. And
yeah, Gamer, good call. My apologies. I have that right. Let's see here. I had the live. So yeah, the Gamer's talking about the shooting in Minnesota there at the Catholic school. 3 dead, 18 injured in the mass shooting. Let me see. I just had something pulled up for that. Let me see. My apologies. Yeah, I just had this one pulled up there. So just before we get into JB, I should probably get into a little bit of the breaking news this morning there, where this says 2 children killed, 17 others hurt. I'm not saying you're wrong, Gamer. I'm sure there's been further reporting, but this is just the one that I was looking at this morning here, talking about the incident where 2 children were killed and 17 others were injured in another shooting at an Annunciation Catholic school in Minneapolis. The gunman, a man in his 20s, killed himself after shooting through the church windows as children worshiped during their first week of school. More live updates to follow. Again, this was put out at 11:58 a.m. So obviously East Coast on whatever time they are. But 2 children killed, an 8-year-old child, a 10-year-old child were among the 2. Adults and children, including a child as young as 6, among those injured. Police say the suspect, again, was in his 20s, did not have an extensive criminal history, was dressed in all black, armed with a rifle when he shot at the children and other worshipers during the first week of school. Again, we'll be checking up on this as this story develops, but I just want to make sure the church and the school are on the 500 block of the West 54th Street in South Minneapolis, near the intersection of 54th and Lyndale. The school is for kindergarten through 8th graders. They started school on Monday. Police began responding to the scene around 8:27. Neighbors reported hearing significant gunfire, so much that they didn't think it was actually gunfire. The FBI, ATF, Homeland Security, and the Minnesota State Patrol and local authorities are on the scene. Minneapolis Mayor, Jacob Frey is also at the scene. I'm sure, again, we'll be getting further reporting as this goes on. This is saying 2. But again, I'm not saying the account. Anybody saying that there was 3 is wrong, because I'm just going by what I read, and this is kind of the first thing I saw. But yeah, it continues in Donald Trump's America, ladies and gentlemen. In Donald Trump's America, stripping you of your rights, adding more weapons onto the streets on the hips of National Guard, members that they can't use, because then they'd just be using weapons against their own civilian population, which is, I think, is pretty frowned upon. The last time I checked. But this is what, again, we have to deal with. This is what we have to deal with here. And this is just days after we heard Tim Walz, Governor Tim Walz, talk about the fascist takeover from Donald Trump. And who knows who can be sure if this isn't some fucking MAGA whack job. Nothing to suggest this yet. I'm just speculating here, pure speculation. But what's not to suggest that this isn't a MAGA fucking whack job, making it, wanting to make it seem like crime is out of control in these liberal controlled areas, right? And just doing his part to make it seem like shit's out of control. And if there's a mass shooting in the news, just as Donald Trump's trying to federalize the fucking metropolitan police departments all over the place, and deploying the National Guard all over the fucking place. Maybe they can use that like the Reichstag fire. Maybe they can use that as justification to continue their fascist fucking reign, their authoritarian policies. Now, again, pure speculation on my part. Nothing to suggest this so far. Again, it just said in that the kid did not have an extensive criminal record. Didn't say anything as to his political affiliations or anything like that. So, again, this is pure speculation on my part. I just want to make that very, very clear. But what's not to say that, there's been proven cases of instigators going to, say, the George Floyd protests and shooting up police stations, or instigating riots somehow in those peaceful protests that were being held. There's clear cases of that happening. So I would not put it past these people to go out there and to stir up chaos on their own in order to make it look like the numbers that, the liberal media, they call it, are reporting on, that, crime is down 25 to 30%, just isn't true. Because look at all the shootings, look at all the crime. So again, I'm sure we'll find out more about this prick, this dickhead, and what his intentions were, what his motives were. But as to right now, we can only speculate, and unfortunately, it's something that we have to report on, and something that you can't really rule out right now as to the probability that this guy could be a fucking Trump supporter, could be some crazed fucking MAGA nut looking to stir shit up, so that Trump has the justification to continue sending in troops into Democratic cities all over the country, right? So thank you, Gamer, for reminding me to bring that up. I apologize for not bringing that up sooner. That is totally my fault. Oh, I did have it. I had it right here on the other screen, the first one. I'm such an idiot. Anyways, I apologize. That's my fault. Let's get back to JB. I wanted to make sure that we took a look, just a few minutes. I know we don't have a ton of time, so I'm just going to take a look at a few minutes of this. We got a few other clips to get to, another article to get to, and then we'll continue and see how much time we have from there. So I appreciate it. Hit that like button. We're on our way to 15K here at Blunt Politics. We got to get to 13 first, so let's help us get there. I think we're very close to 13,000 subscribers. So if you guys over there at this space could help me out, it would be very, very appreciated. So thank you very much. Let's roll.
And it's working. Not one person here today will claim we have solved all crime in Chicago, nor can that be said of any major American metro area. But calling the military into a U.S. city to invade our streets and neighborhoods and disrupt the lives of everyday people is an extraordinary action, and it should require extraordinary justification. Look around you right now. Does this look like an emergency? Look at this. Go talk to the people of Chicago who are enjoying a gorgeous afternoon in this city. Ask the families buying ice cream on the Riverwalk. Go see the students who are at the beach after school. Talk to the workers that I just met taking the water taxi to get here. Find a family who's enjoying today sitting on their front porch, and ask if they want their neighborhoods turned into a war zone by a wannabe dictator.
And he says it outright. I mean, he said it in the last 2 press conferences that I've watched in the last 2 days straight. Donald Trump has repeatedly said that the United States, the American people, are looking for a dictator. He says he's not a dictator, but he's more than willing to be one if that's what the American people want. And he's very convinced that that's what the American people want right now, is a dictator. Right. And I said yesterday on the show, it would be very easy for anybody in the chat, for you, for me, any one of the last presidents to deploy the entire fucking military into our cities, into our fucking own, to harm our own and cause violence on our own population. Right. And to scare our own population. I'm sure that would bring the fucking crime down for a certain period of time. I think anybody could do that. Just like deploying the military on the fucking southern wall is probably a sure way to cut down on illegal immigration, but it's also a costly and ineffective way. It's not sustainable. All right, you cannot afford to deploy the entirety of the fucking military around our country for a long period of time. You cannot afford to deploy our military along the entirety of our border, both north and south, to make sure that nobody ever comes across the border. It's not sustainable. So it's not like this is some fucking new tactic that nobody's ever heard of. It's been done. Believe me, Mussolini tried it. Hitler tried it. It's basically just creating a police state, turning your country into a police state, using the Gestapo, the SS, right? The brown shirts, the black shirts, to your benefit, to your advantage, to harass not only your political opponents, but also, marginalized communities, people of color, anybody in the LGBTQIA you don't care for, pretty much the entire community there, trans people, right? So this is going to be turned on lefties as well. This doesn't stop with just deploying people in the cities and yada yada. I mean, there's a picture here. Here I can show you where a vet. Yeah, check this out. Ready? Check this out. This is a vet. This is Jolly Good Ginger on Instagram. Good friend on TikTok. When I was doing TikToks back in the day, we used to be in lives all the time. He's an ex-vet, right? But he has video here. He's been doing a great job in D.C. He's been organizing sit-ins. He's been talking to the National Guard people, telling them, how wrong they are, what they're actually involved in. And here is video that he got of a vet, a Secret Service detains veteran for burning flag, again, expressing his First Amendment right. So check this out.
Detaining Jay Carey. He's a 20-year Army veteran, combat veteran, who just burnt a flag in front of the White House in protest of Donald Trump's executive order prohibiting the burning of flags.
My name is Jay Carey. I'm a retired disabled combat veteran, serving over 20 years in the United States Army. I fought for every single one of your rights to express yourself and however you feel that you may.
Not sure why it stopped. My apologies. I'm sure there's more. All right, let me see if there's just another video. I think it stopped there for some reason. Let me see. There's also this one that he's got. So he's been there. He's been out there. So check this one out. Unless something happened with Instagram, and that's what's going on. Let me see if I can refresh. My apologies. Any day now would be great. Why is it all only... Here we go. No? Not going to happen? Here we go. Some sound would be great, though.
There was 2 Border Patrol cars.
I believe this is his most recent one, talking about how, during his first few days there was, armored personnel carriers. There was fucking Hummers and Humvees all over the place there. And I believe they've actually left the area is what he's reporting here.
Right in the middle of Union Station, where they're not supposed to park, but, they think they're the big bullies on the block. They parked right in the middle of Union Station. So we walked up, our group of veterans, we surrounded their cars and did this.
Citizens, we represent 4 branches of service: Army, Air Force, Navy, Marine. All of us represent combat service from Bosnia to Kosovo, Desert Storm, Iraq, Afghanistan. If this country's had a conflict, we've been in it. This is a military occupation of America. We do not approve. I do not care about your political affiliation. I do not care who you voted for. We believe that the United States military should not be put on American streets to intimidate American citizens. D.C. does not have a crime problem, but even in a hypothetical situation, if there was crime, it is not the military's job to conduct law enforcement activities on America.
Correct. right? And he goes on and he's, got several other videos that you can check out on his Instagram. And there's other people out there doing similar work. I know Jesse Dollimore has been out there recording the protests and getting active and making sure people know that people are out there on the streets resisting this shit. Taking this fucking seriously, making sure that, ICE doesn't have a free hand, making sure that Border Patrol doesn't have a free hand, making sure the National Guard agents know exactly what the fuck they're being used for as political pawns in a fascist game by an authoritarian regime, hell-bent on destroying the Constitution, destroying our fucking freedoms and liberties and rights that we have in this country. You can hear just in the way that Donald Trump talks about the Ukrainian Constitution and how Volodymyr Zelensky speaks about the Ukrainian Constitution and how he has to, go back to his people and speak about any land swaps, as Donald Trump calls them, or, how it has to be agreed upon per his Constitution, by the assembly in his country. And Donald Trump just laughs every time. Why? Oh, please, you gotta wait for your people. You're the president. You don't have to wait for anything. Just like he's not waiting to rename the State Department as, what is it, the War Department? I keep forgetting now, but something like that. But he's not waiting again for Congress, which again would be the people that would have to okay the name switch. But he's not worried about that because he doesn't give a shit about our rules, laws, Constitution, policies, way of life. He doesn't give a shit. As long as it benefits him, it's okay. And thank you, Stephanie. Thank you so much, Stephanie, for being here for 7 months. Appreciate that. And then thank you guys for all that you do. It's your support for not only democracy, but this channel that continues to keep this channel going. So I really do appreciate it. Appreciate you, Steph. All right, let's see if we can hop on here to what we were talking about yesterday. And this is just something I wanted to show because everybody seems to be talking about, and I apologize that this is the only one that I could find, but this is just the first thing that popped up. So, yesterday we talked about the horrendous strike on the Nasser hospital, the so-called double tap in which over 20 people were killed, another 5 journalists were killed, where Israel struck the hospital, waited for people to show up in hope. Oh, thank you, Chewy. Let's fucking go, guys. Let's fucking go. Everybody make sure you're out there thanking Chewy for his 10 gifted memberships. Let's fucking go. That's awesome. And he had, so 10 people in the chat now get a membership thanks to Chewy. I appreciate you, Chewy, and everybody in the chat appreciate you as well. So thanks, buddy. And you guys too can gift just like Chewy, just underneath me. If you're not, if you're already signed up, or if you're, you're more willing to donate than sign up yourself, then that's something you can do too. So I appreciate you, bud. Thanks, dude. Yeah, but I mean, they wait for people to show up. They wait for the fucking aid workers to show up. They wait for any local media or journalists to show up that are allowed or are contracted by other media organizations because they themselves cannot get independent journalists in there themselves. But they wait for these people to show up, and then they send in another missile. And people have been saying to me, and you hear it over and over again, if they just release the hostages, But here is, again, you can bring up many accounts, many times, where not only Benjamin Netanyahu himself, but ambassadors alike, IDF spokespeople have said that this war is about eliminating Hamas. This is not about the release of the hostages. Even if the hostages were to be released, this war would continue because they are trying to eliminate Hamas is the ultimate goal. Right. So again, the ultimate goal not being the release of the hostages. Again, we've talked about the outcry from the families of the hostages themselves at the way the IDF, at the way Benjamin Netanyahu has conducted this, at total reckless abandon, total disregard for the lives of the hostages. It's been recently brought up that, if you're starving the population of Palestine, who are in control of, have responsibility of the remaining hostages, you do realize that you're in turn starving your own hostages, correct? So, get that. Think about that one too. So if you're starving the population that's in control of the hostages that you seek the release of, then in turn you are starving your own hostages, right? So what we've been talking about is, you know, how the argument being used is, you know, just release the hostages, when in turn, again, I've pointed out many times where Benjamin Netanyahu has said himself, it's not, this will not end with the hostages release. Again, we intend to continue this till the utter destruction of Gaza, to the utter eradication of Hamas. And this is just one of the clips that I found to illustrate that, just really quickly, because I know we had a lot of people talking about it.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has called on his government to back a deal that will see the release of some of the hostages taken by Hamas militants last month. But he also made clear that the war against Hamas will continue even after a hostage deal. Yising has more.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Tuesday called on his government to back a hostage deal that will see the release of some hostages taken by Hamas during the October 7th attack on Israel. Netanyahu also told his government that it was a difficult decision, but the right decision, and would allow Israel to go on fighting Hamas. The Israeli Prime Minister also stressed the war would continue until Israel achieved its goals, emphasizing that a hostage deal would not mean the end of the conflict. Israel, however, continued its...
All right, so again, just one report to highlight the fact that during the ceasefire talks, not only Benjamin Netanyahu, the leader of this country, highlighted the fact that this war would continue even after the hostages were released, even if and when the hostages were released, because the goal of this was the destruction of the Palestinian people, was the destruction of Hamas. But they've already come out and said that it's basically an impossibility to go in there and eradicate Hamas totally, right? Without totally eradicating an incredible percentage of the Palestinian population. They have said themselves it would be, and it's actually been reported, I think, by the United States not that long ago, that there are probably more Hamas members now than when this thing started. You know, because of the radicalization, because of families being killed and people seeing their mothers, fathers, daughters, sons, fucking nieces, nephews being killed on a daily basis. This tends to radicalize people against the side that is doing the killing, which has led to probably more conscription, more added people willing to throw their fucking hand in the fight. And I think that was a United States intelligence report, if I'm not mistaken. But again, there's a ton of them like this. This is just kind of like the first one that I pulled up in order to remind everybody that it's been said by Netanyahu ambassadors. So this is not something that could or should be used against you in an argument, and damn sure not to justify the attacks that we saw and we talked about yesterday, which were just horrendous on so many different levels, a war crime on so many different levels. It illustrates the intentions and the escalation in this war that we've been talking about, where Israel, the IDF has now called up another 60,000 people in what they're calling their final offensive, the final solution, right, to the Gaza problem. So again, there's multiple ways in which they try to attack you as being anti-Semitic right off the bat. There's a lot of talking points and ways that they try to combat and justify these acts, and it's increasingly, and has been for some time, just completely unjustifiable on any level by anybody. It's the things that you're seeing with your own human eyes cannot be justified with any fucking rhetoric, with any talking point, with any bullshit that you try to spew at me. So don't even fucking try to pull it, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. It makes absolutely no sense to me that anybody could or would try to even justify what we're seeing now. The blatant and like definitively fucking planned acts of fucking starvation, of starving an entire population, of luring people in with a missile strike, waiting until they get in there and try to fucking peel people out of the rubble, right? Waiting till the most amount of people are on site and then hitting it with another fucking missile. And we say hospital, right? But if you look at that place, even before the first strike, I mean, we're really fucking stretching the limits, the terms of what a hospital is when we say that, without properly describing the fact that, it was basically a shell of its former self in the beginning to begin with. Oh, thank you, Ricky. Thank you so much, Ricky, for the 5 gifted. I appreciate you very much. I really do. I really do. And for the $2. Let's go. Got to get back to work. Love y'all. Well, get back at it. Thank you for making this country run. I appreciate you for checking in. Thank you so much, guys. But yeah, it's hard not to. It blows my mind that some people still aren't like convinced as to the horrors that are going on, and as to who's perpetrating these horrors. It really is remarkable that people are still stuck in their own little bubble, in their own little world, in their own little reality, that they're unwilling to call this out for exactly what it is. And it's a shame that we still have to, kind of tap dance. Well, not myself, but it's a shame that some people still have to tap dance around the subject, for lack of a better word, to keep themselves out of trouble. You know what I mean? All right, let's see if we can check in here with one of the funnier clips that I wanted to show you. This is just a quick clip before we get into our next segment, because I want to know if you guys can make sense out of what this guy is saying, of what Doug Burgum said in this clip, right? I'm going to play it from the beginning. They're talking about ending the wind project from 2023. They found that were negligible national security impacts, but the Pentagon, for some reason, I guess Doug Burgum has decided to cancel the wind farm project, putting thousands of jobs at risk, as you can see the headline says on CNN. But listen to his explanation as to why he did that. Again, we're talking about wind. We're talking about sustainable energy for the future. You know what I mean? Shit that this country is trying to, again, build upon. Shit that is going to be very necessary to survival going forward. And these people, again, just trying to kill it at every turn because it has the word wind in it. And Donald Trump has this ridiculously insane infatuation with windmills because they put some outside of his golf courses, I guess. But listen to his explanation and let me know if you guys can understand. Let me know if you guys understand anything that's coming out of this guy's mouth. Listen to this explanation.
I mean, Sean just today publicly shared, during the cabinet meeting, that there'd been a report that had been buried about the fact that a wind farm, if it's too close to a railroad or a highway, could affect the electronics.
But the Pentagon reviewed this project in 2023, and they found that there were negligible national security impacts. So what are the specific ones that this administration?
So the first one was if it's too close to a railway or a highway, it could affect the electronics. Next one is
so concerned about that you would stop it if it's 80% of the way done.
Well, I think in particular, there's concerns about radar.
Again, you just heard Caitlin Collins say 80% done. 80%'s done. So this isn't a Keystone Pipeline situation, right? Where the shit is fucking still in the fucking paperwork stage, basically, and people are in an uproar about it. It's 80%. And listen to his explanation. You're gonna love this. You're gonna love this.
Relative to undersea, and doesn't have to be a large Russian sub, but undersea drones, the new technology. I mean, the war in Ukraine has shown that swarm attacks by drones, if you're going to launch one into our most populous part of our country, the Pacific Northwest, the way people with, bad ulterior motives to the United
So wait a minute. So the reason for canceling this project, that from what Caitlin Collins has said is 80% complete already, is for fear of drone attack in the western part of the United States. And you think that drone attack is going to come through the wind farms? What are they attacking? Typically, these wind farms are put in, I don't know, remote places, typically large, flat areas, not much around from what I've seen. What are these drones attacking? So they're using the windmills as cover to attack what? The windmills. They're going to attack. There's going to be a drone attack. Enemies could launch a drone attack through the wind farms. Get the fuck out of here.
States would launch a swarm drone attack through a wind farm. The radar.
Listen to this shit one more time. Listen to this. Ready?
Drone attack through a wind farm. The radar gets very distorted around detecting, if you're trying to have, detect and avoid if you've got drones coming.
So you're just concerned about potential attacks on it, and that's why you're stopping the
Well, I
project
think it's a whole range of things that need to be.
Oh, even Caitlin Collins is like, what? So you're worried about drone attacks in the western part of the country? And that's why you're getting rid of our sustainable energy? That's why you're getting rid of the wind and solar and, electric vehicles and shit. Fuck, I couldn't believe it. I'm sorry. I know that's a little bit off topic. I understand, but I had to play that. I ran across that this morning, and I was like, "What the hell is he talking about? Drone attacks in the fucking western part of the country? You gotta be shitting me, dude. You gotta be shitting me as to why we cannot have wind farms. All right, let's check in on this douchebag here if we can. I wanted to do this yesterday on the show, but I didn't get the opportunity. Let's see if I can share this instead for you guys. This is the bigoted bald bastard on with Sean Hannity. Yes, you're right. Stephen Miller, the world's most bigoted and racist person, on with Sean Hannity, talking about and probably trying to justify, again, the outright takeover of Democratic cities or Democrat cities throughout the country, trying to justify his probably fascist policies of just rounding up people at Home Depot parking lots, going into schools, going into courts, going into homes, going into hospitals, and just ripping anybody out that has brown skin, a Hispanic sounding last name, some sort of an accent, maybe looks out of place. So that's kind of, I'm assuming, I haven't seen this clip, but I'm assuming that's what he's going to defend. But I wanted to just make sure that, again, when we see this fascist takeover, this rise of authoritarianism and, fucking our military roaming the streets in armored personnel carriers and shit. And again, the threat of Donald Trump using this in other cities, I think it's probably wise of us to start calling out everything that not only Tom Homan, Donald Trump, but also Stephen Miller here is saying. So what do you say we get into just a little bit of this, and then we'll head on to our next clip. Appreciate you guys. Hit that like button.
House Chief of Staff for Policy, Homeland Security Advisor Stephen Miller. Stephen, if I've been running a scroll of the names of people that have been shot and killed, you can predict with pinpoint accuracy how many people on any given weekend are going to be shot and killed in Chicago. They haven't lifted a finger to solve the problem. They've fallen into this defund, dismantle, reimagine, Nobel.
Are they still trying to push this defund the police bullshit? Are they still trying to, for Christ's sakes? I still had fucking baby clothes when one person said that, I think, about 400 years ago. And then everybody rightly said, that doesn't sound good. Let's not use that. Let's not do that at all. What we want to do is maybe, appropriate the funds into the correct areas of the police. You know what I mean? Instead of using them to buy, I don't know, fucking tanks and armored personnel carriers, maybe we could do that into, like, I don't know, some sort of reform for the community, or some sort of reform for the officers themselves, ones that are in especially difficult areas. I don't know, any way that we could possibly use that money in better ways than, again, arming our fucking police force like they're the military and giving them fucking tanks and shit.
Insanity. And now Donald Trump wants to help, and they're mad at him?
7 years.
Look, we discussed this last time I was on your show. The Democrat Party does not fight for, care about, or represent American citizens. It is an entity devoted exclusively to the defense of hardened criminals, gangbangers, and illegal alien killers and terrorists.
Well, then I guess we're doing a pretty good fucking job, because that seems to be the only people you're not going after. Considering, I don't know, what was it, 75 to 80% of the people that you sent to CCOT had no fucking criminal record whatsoever. Considering an overwhelming majority, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, of the people that you've fucking detained so far have less than a minor criminal record. Like, is that why we haven't seen this huge bust of I don't know, hundreds and thousands of gang members all over the country, because these people are going into the most dangerous spots, right? Remember, Donald Trump likes to say, they'll get in there and they'll rumble around and they'll tussle with the fucking the toughest, and they'll dive right in them rooms. Well, it seems to me like they're diving out of Penske trucks into Home Depot parking lots and waddling their fat asses to the first fucking kind and respectful person looking for a day's work, or, God forbid, somebody sitting there selling some fucking goods, trying to make a buck to feed their family, and you roll up on them and slap some handcuffs on them. And then when the pregnant U.S. citizen, the pregnant woman that's a U.S. citizen, has something to say about it, you slap her on the fucking hood of the car too. And then, remember the father of the 3 Marines? The 3 active duty Marines, the father that was fucking assaulted and punched in the face in the middle of the street. You can talk about that as well. But apparently we're doing a great job on the left of protecting these fucking criminals and terrorists because seems to be the only motherfuckers you assholes aren't going for. Seems to be the only motherfuckers that you assholes aren't looking to arrest. You're arresting all the good people, the people with no criminal records. But God forbid you go into the actual fucking the den of vipers, as you call it, or whatever the fuck Trump used to say, and get the actual dangerous criminals out.
The Democrat Party is not a political party. It is a domestic extremist organization. Look at Chicago.
Says the party, says the guy representing the party that has the Proud Boys, the Oath Keepers, the 1%ers, 2%ers, 3%ers, every fucking fascist Nazi fuckbag on the planet. I mean, we're seeing, I guess, the split of Nick Fuentes as of late, but still, guess what? I'm sure he's more aligned still with your fucking policies, Mr. Stephen Miller, than anybody else's. But you got them all, brother. Right? Again, I don't know. You guys don't call yourselves Nazi, but it sure seems funny that all the Nazis seem to fucking love you. They seem to follow the shit out of you guys. So, again, you might want to fucking take a look at the mirror. Again, that skinhead's probably telling me something different.
They've shut down the police department. They've handcuffed law enforcement. And as President Trump says, they have turned the streets of Chicago into a bloody killing.
Did he say they've handcuffed law enforcement? Is that what he just said? Hold on, one sec. One sec.
They've shut down the police department. They've handcuffed law enforcement. And as President Trump said...
Who the fuck's he talking about? They've handcuffed law enforcement? What the fuck's he talking about?
As they have turned the streets of Chicago into a bloody killing field. Here in Washington, D.C., before President Trump launched the federal law enforcement liberation in D.C., there was a murder on the streets of this town every...
You know, we should probably then have a conversation on guns then, Stephen Miller. How about that? How about we turn this into a useful conversation about gun violence and where the guns that are flooding into Chicago are coming from? Because there's all the conservatives and Republicans and MAGA fucking assholes love to bring up, even with the strictest gun laws and fucking this and that, they still look at the gun violence that they got. They got strict gun... Well, guess what? Guess where the guns are coming from, you dumb bastard? From outside of the fucking area. From outside, you know what I mean? And they cross over state lines from the areas and fucking territories and states that have lackadaisical fucking gun laws, where it's easy to procure illegal weapons and then transport them over state lines into cities like Chicago. It's not fucking hard to see. It's not hard to see because the police have fucking very well documented this. It's very well known. And if that were stopped, I guarantee the strict gun laws that we see in places like Massachusetts and places like fucking, Chicago and other areas, I guarantee they would have much more effect if all of the surrounding states were to comply in the same way and put in similar fucking laws and actually, enact those laws and actually tell the police to fucking, make those, to enforce those laws, then I guarantee we'd actually see the impact, would actually see an effect on that. But as long as you still have fucking a circus going on in the state next to you with guns just fucking flowing around, it's pretty damn hard, regardless of how illegal you make weapons and how hard you make it for people to get them legally, to keep those out of your fucking state, to keep those out of your city. It's not fucking difficult to believe. I mean, it's not that it doesn't take a genius, right? And I know he knows this, and I know his job is to go on Fox News and to bullshit through his teeth and to make people scared and to make people believe we're at the worst of the worst of the worst times here. But again, I fucking advise anybody to go back and check the crime statistics of the 90s in every single aspect and compare that to today, and you will see right away a very clear trend in which way crime has gone since the 90s.
Other day, body after body after body after body. That was Washington, D.C. Residents were afraid to go to restaurants. They were afraid to go into entire neighborhoods.
Because of illegal weapons brought in from states, with Republican governors, Republican mayors, Republican leadership that don't give a fuck about their citizens or the citizens in their surrounding states because they refuse to step up and put in place proper gun laws that would restrict this very thing that you're now complaining about on fucking Sean Hannity's show.
Getting carjacked right and left, robbed and beaten. That was Washington, D.C. Now we're 2 weeks homicide free, the safest the city has ever been in its entire history.
And how long can we keep this up, do you think? How long do you think it's safe for a country to keep their military deployed on the streets of not only its capital, but other major cities throughout the fucking country? How long do you think it's safe for that to continue? Before we start seeing shit kick up little by little. Before we start seeing, again, accidental discharges, misfires, blue on blue. Because that's just fucking statistics, right? That is just the odds of probability. That the more guns you put out there, the more people you put out there for the longer period of time, the more fucking chances you're going to have at an accident, of some fucking skirmish, of chaos ensuing. Again, it's no secret that you can deploy your military in your country, and guess what? It would probably slow down crime for a bit. I don't think that's fucking a secret to anybody, which is, again, why it's been used by authoritarian fucking madmen for fucking centuries now. It's just, it's immoral, it's unconstitutional, it's illegal, it's stupid, it's dangerous, it sets a bad precedent, and that's the reason why it's not fucking, it hasn't been done, right? That's the reason why it's frowned upon. That's the reason why it is against the law to unleash our military against our own fucking civilians.
Democrats, instead of jumping up and down and saying, thank you, President Trump, thank you for saving our lives, thank you for saving our cities, thank you for scrubbing away all...
There you go. There's the site you want to see, ladies and gentlemen. There's the site you want to see. Nope, that's not Moscow. That's not fucking, that's not Pyongyang. That's Washington, D.C., 2025. And no, there was no event going on. No, there was no reason for it. Let's just drive the fucking, what is that, an MRAP? What do they call those things? Is that the Buffalo? I'm not even sure what nickname they give those ones. But let's just drive this fucking military assault vehicle right through the streets, right up on here, just to show our power. I mean, this is shit that's done in authoritarian fascist countries. This is the show of power. This is the show of force that dictators like to, deploy in order to make people. I mean, this is no different than, lining the streets of Berlin with Nazi flags hanging out of every single window, on every single archway, held by every single person. There's no different here. Just a different tactic used for the same purpose. Fucking unreal.
The graffiti, the trash, the homeless encampments, the drug...
And again, this is not to say at all, and I want to make this very fucking clear because I feel like I fucked up yesterday in the way I asked the question, so I want to make sure I'm being very clear today. This is not to say that we don't still have a very clear issue in all of our major cities in this country. That is not to say that we don't have a very clear homeless issue that needs to be fucking dealt with, that needs to be looked at, that needs to be fixed yesterday. That's not to say that we don't have a housing crisis that needs to be looked at, which is, again, leading to more homelessness. That's not to say that we don't have crime problems. That's not to say that we don't have a gun problem in urban areas in major cities. But again, let's look at where they're getting the guns. Let's look at why that's a thing. Let's not just talk about it to talk about it. Let's talk about it to fix it. Let's talk about it to come up with solutions. And again, you cannot come up with solutions until you address the fucking underlying issues as to why these guns are getting into these major cities at the rate that they are. I was shocked to go online and see, you don't have to scroll far on Instagram in order to see a video of inner city kids with weapons that belong in war, that weapons that literally belong on fucking, in a mob movie only. And you're thinking, how the fuck do you get something like that? Jesus Christ. So there's a reason as to why that's accessible. There's a reason as to why that kid in that inner city somehow had access to that fucking rare and illegal machine fucking pistol or automatic assault rifle or extended clip or whatever. You know, there's a reason. There's places where those things are coming from, and the reason why those things are allowed, or why it's so easy in order to get them into these areas that do have strict laws. But unfortunately, those laws can only take place when you're caught with it, right? If the other states around you aren't enforcing their laws or don't have laws to begin with, once they're in there, once they're in your state, it's only when you're caught with that weapon. And typically, and unfortunately, it's only after that weapon a lot of time has been used that the police happen to stumble upon the weapon or the person with the weapon, right? So, I mean, it's not like things are fucking hunky-dory here, and that's just the way that it's going to remain to be. What do you think happens? What do you think happens the moment that you know, the military has to pull out of all these areas, right? You think people are going to be, well, you know what? We might as well just, you know, keep ourselves crime-free now. I think we're on the straight and narrow. I think that was good. They had their armored personnel carriers inside there, you know, they were parked in the state parks there. I think we'll stay on the straight and narrow now. This is good. I think we'll do that. No, I mean, come on. Are we being realistic? Which is why we should continue the policies that led to crime being at a 30% low or 30% lower than it was year over year. And only, you know, ramp up those policies in order to continue making sure that crime continues to get lower, continue to help the impoverished communities, and continue to help the homeless, which will, again, lower crime. Continue to make sure that there's no gouging on home prices and people can afford their homes. You know, that you know, homes are affordable, and that jobs are paying people what they should be paid, a fair wage, right? That will lead to less crime. Again, make sure that these states with lackadaisical gun laws or no gun laws at all put in place and enforce these laws. That will lead to less crime. There's a lot of ways that we can do this, right? And none of those involve deploying the military against our own citizens. None of them involve arming the National Guard inside of our nation's capital. None of them. Not a single fucking one of them.
Instead of cleaning up the city, instead of thanking him for that, they're saying, President Trump, how dare you save our lives? How dare you save our children? How dare you save our city? The Democrat Party, Sean, that exists today, it disgusts me. I do not recognize that party, Sean.
That's fucking amazing, right? Coming from the unrecognizable party to anybody that was a Republican, say, 20 years ago, literally cannot recognize. If you fell asleep as a Republican 20 years ago and you're waking up now looking at the fucking party that you fell asleep in, you don't know what the goddamn you're looking at. You're like Wesley Snipes in Demolition Man. You know, there's no fucking, you don't know what the hell is going on. The people that you're looking at when you left were ridiculed and mocked for being con men and frauds. Now all of a sudden they're leading the party and they have a fucking a dictator's grip. It's fucking nuts. And again, everything is a confession. It's all projection with these people. Anything they say and they accuse us of is something that they themselves are guilty of or are perpetrating themselves in the background. And then if you take that and use that, and every time they talk, it lends us and gives us a lot of insight into what they're doing, because we tend to find out later that is very much the truth, that the shit that they're projecting upon us is the very same shit that they are engaged in behind the scenes.
I don't recognize it, but the reality is you cannot pursue happiness in this country. Life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. You can't pursue happiness if you don't have the prerequisite of law and order and safety and security. They are not providing it.
Look at that. I mean, we're normalized to it now, which is fucking gross to think because it hasn't been that long. But here you go, just vested up, masked men, armed, waltzing the streets. You know, you say security, I say fascism. You say protection, I say authoritarianism. You know, you say fucking law enforcement, I say fascists, I say SS, I say Gestapo. And even the Gestapo didn't wear fucking masks, motherfucker. Even the SS Gestapo motherfuckers were proud to show their face. But not these guys. Not these guys, because they know. They know repercussions are coming. They know that this is only going to last so long and that Donald Trump can only fucking hold on to his life, his heartbeat, and power so long. And then inevitably shit is going to fucking change. and then people are going to be held accountable. And if you were involved in, again, being used as a pawn in Donald Trump's political fucking fascist game, and you knew it and refused to remove yourself from the situation, you are just as fucking guilty. And again, speaking about Donald Trump's last breath, speaking about Donald Trump and how long he's going to be lasting, we only have a few more minutes left before we get to the main man, Jeff Waldorf over there on this space. So why don't we see if we can take a look at, let's take a look at this one. I think it was this one that I wanted to see. This is Jen and Pumps, who from the I've Had It podcast, who have been absolutely smashing it lately. So credit to them. I'd love to be able to get them on the podcast, but I got to shoot for the stars for that one. But this is them just kind of speculating about Donald Trump's health. I might have to speed it up because we don't have a ton of time left, so I might have to speed it up just so we get through just a little bit more of it. But this is, again, Pumps and Jen talking about Donald Trump's health, speculating. So let's just get through a few minutes, and then I'll kick it over to my main man, Jeff, over there on this space. What do you say? Appreciate it. Hit that like button. I'm Boston Brian. This is Blunt Politics, the political podcast to sift through the bullshit, propaganda, and lies of the mainstream media, Donald Trump, the Republican Party, and to break it down for normal, everyday, working-class individuals and citizens like you and like me and the people that are trying to help this country get better. So I appreciate you hitting that like button. I appreciate everybody contributing. You guys have been absolutely fantastic in helping this channel grow. So let's just finish out the last couple minutes with the I've Had It podcast here.
His health is in a complete death spiral. There's just no other way to put it. Yesterday, he put on 3 press conferences in the Oval. And I think, you guys, this is what I think is happening. He is so demented that he's like, let's do a press conference. And so they call the press pool and they get them all together and everybody goes, sits down, and he talks about people leaving the garage doors open in Beverly Hills, people keeping their trunks open in Beverly Hills because people are just like, you're going to take it anyway. Just come take all my stuff. All of this is lies. He lies nonstop. The press doesn't cover it. And so they just keep running in to cover all of these lies. And here's what comes out of this. So Philip Wegman says Trump is calling the press pool into the Oval Office for a 3rd time today. Never seen this before. Kara Lyon, KKK Levitt, says President Trump is the most transparent and accessible president in American history.
Did you see in yesterday's fucking, what was it, 3.5 hour meeting that they had? Them trying to, I might have it here. Let's see here. I might have we might be able to end on this because this was friggin', I mean, talk about Kim Jong-un, North Korea type ass kissing. Let's see if I pull this up. Should just be a clip. Oh, here we go. Jesus Christ. Talk about, thank you guys. Thank you, Carol. And thank you, JD. Appreciate you guys very much. I really do. Thank you for keeping this show running. This is what I wanted to show you. I don't know if you guys saw this. This is, again, Steve Witkoff making his plea for Donald Trump to once again get the Nobel Peace Prize. Check this out. Listen to what he says and tell me if this doesn't remind you of North Korean ass kissing, somebody that's standing in front of Vladimir Putin that's trying to literally keep the breath in his lungs for another day. Check this out. Listen to this fucking horseshit.
And we hope to settle them before the end of this year. Your team is nothing short of incredible. And there's only one thing I wish for, that Noble Committee finally gets its act together and realizes
the Noble Committee
is that you are the single finest candidate since the this Nobel Award was ever talked about to receive that reward. Beyond
the single finest candidate in the history of Nobles.
Your success is game changing out in the world today, and I hope everybody one day wakes up and realizes that.
What game has he changed? What the fuck is he talking about? Oh my God. All right. Sorry. Just to cover. Oh, we're running out of time, but we got at least another minute of this. Yeah.
They're having to cover up for him because I don't think he remembers that he did the first press conference. And I don't think he remembers that he did the second press conference. And I don't think he remembers that he did the 3rd press conference because that's how advanced the dementia is, the cognitive decline. This is before I even get to the muffin top cankles, which is why we call him kanks, and these bruises all over his hands.
All right, so that's something we also talked about on yesterday's show, and I'll probably have to leave you with that. I don't want to run into to Jeff's show over there on this space. I appreciate this space for having me on. Everybody watching over there, I appreciate Jeff for all the work that he does, Matt for everything that he's doing over there, all the work that he's putting in. I really do appreciate his time and effort and all of the great creative creators that have contributed over there are doing a fantastic job, and I'm very honored to be a part of that. So thank you very much to everybody watching over there. Make sure, if you can, if you're not already, subscribe to my channel over here at Blunt Politics, Boston Brian. So and anybody on my channel, if you're not subscribed to this space, make sure you head over there and subscribe to them. I'll let Jeff take it over for now over there on this space. I appreciate you guys. I will see you tonight for those that are going to be around for Jesse Dollamore's interview over here on Blunt Politics. So thank you very much to everybody on this space. I'll let you guys go. And Jeff, make sure you kick some ass, brother. I appreciate you, dude. All right. And thank you. And those of you guys on Blunt Politics, those of you guys on my channel, stick around so I can make sure to thank each and all of you guys for your kind contributions, either on Venmo, which is up here in the corner, which you can kindly take a picture of, send a buck or two, bust a buck, try your luck, support some independent media. But I appreciate every single one of you. Make sure that let me see if I can do that now. Let me see if I can bust into everybody that contributed today, and I will get you guys out of here. Don't forget, tonight, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Pacific, we got Jesse Dollamore on the show. Very excited. Can't wait to talk to him about what's going on in the D.C. area, being where he lives. Can't wait to talk to him about, what's been going on with Russia and Ukraine, what's been going on in Gaza. So we have a shitload to discuss. One of the top political commentators in this space, one of YouTube's superstars here on the political side with over 1 million subscribers. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Make sure you're checking that out tonight. And let's get into thanking some people for their kind contributions. What do you say? What do you say? And again, thank you to everybody on this space. If I'm for some reason still on over there, I appreciate it. Hopefully I'm not cutting into Jeff's show. But let's go. Let's get into the thank yous. B-Dog, let's go, brother. Appreciate you, man. Thank you for being here for 5 months. Very kind and generous of you to stick around. I hope you like the content. I hope you enjoy what you're seeing, and I hope you have a great time and find a healthy space there in the chat for yourself. So thank you, Bri. I do appreciate it. Tell your pup I said hello as well. That goes for you as well, Sheldon. One of the main contributors here on the channel. Thank you very much for everything that you do, for your kind contributions. These memberships continue to stack up. Every show you're doing one, if not a bunch. So thank you so much, Sheldon. It is appreciated. It is recognized, and I can't thank you enough for everything that you guys do. Stephanie as well. Thank you so much, Stephanie B, for being here for 7 months. Thank you for your loyalty. Your kind contributions to the show, your thoughts, your fight, everything. I love your passion, your aggression, and it really helps me keep me motivated and helps keep me going as well. Same thing with Chewy. Chewy been huge recently. Not that you weren't in the past, but you've been stepping up in a major way lately with some big generous gifts here. This one being 10 gifted memberships. So make sure anybody that receives one of the 10 gifted memberships from Chewy, or one of the 5 gifted memberships from Ricky, or one of the gifted memberships from Sheldon, make sure that you guys are thanking these people, because it goes a long way in keeping this channel running. They have to come out of pocket. So please make sure we recognize the financial contributions that people are making, as well as Ricky's $2 generous contributions. Get back to work. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for stopping by. Carol's, thank you so much. I want turkey and dressing with gravy. F. Steve Miller and Sean Hannity. Absolutely. Now you just made me hungry, though. But thank you so much for your $10 contribution. It's very kind, generous, and goes a long way in helping this channel. So thank you guys very much. Rounding it out here is JD. Thank you, JD, for the super sticker. I appreciate that very much. I'll throw that right in the tip jar. And let me just make sure that I didn't miss anybody on Venmo. And if you could, I know we just started this Wednesday show, but if you could share it out, let people know that we do have this new Wednesday show. I'll even toss this. I'll toss this graphic on the screen here, just in case anybody's new. This is our show lineup for the week. So make sure that you guys are checking in and tuning in when you can. I know people got shit to do. I know people got work. So don't worry about it. If you miss it, if you can't make it live, it's YouTube. So just watch it whenever you can. If you can't watch it whenever you can, just if you could remember to pop in and at least just kind of hit a like on it and watch it for a couple minutes, that would go a long way, I'm sure, too. But don't forget, tonight, Jesse Dollamore. All right. And then we got Chris Cluey coming up Sunday. I'm really excited for that one as well. That's going to be a cool conversation as well. Ex-NFL player had that passionate speech at one of the town council meetings there, running for an assembly seat here in Orange County. I believe that the meeting that he went to was in Huntington Beach, if I'm not mistaken. So that's going to be Sunday. And then Tuesday, of next week, we'll be talking to Capitol Police Officer Michael Fanone. So that's going to be extra special as well. Very honored to be able to get the chance to sit down with him and talk to him about what's been going on in the news lately. So, things are happening. Things are happening here at Blunt Politics. And again, it's only because you guys continue to watch, you guys continue to show up and support any way that you can. If one person can't be here, that usually contributes. There's always somebody there that steps up in their place, and then vice versa. So, sometimes it all comes together and it goes over the top. But thank you so much for everything that you do. Thank you so much for fighting for democracy. Thank you so much for fighting for independent media. Thank you so much for fighting against Donald Trump and the Republican Party. Thank you so much for having your populist beliefs. Thank you so much for everything that you do, really. So get out there, get out of your seats, get into the streets, continue fighting, really. Get loud, stay proud, stay aggressive. Don't back down. We have the principles. We have the beliefs. We have the facts on our side. But keep your head on a swivel out there. Find your nearest protest. Find your nearest rally. Until next time, I will see you tonight, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Pacific for Jesse Dollemore. Let's fucking go. Can't fucking wait. All right? And I'll see you tonight. Make sure you're there. Hit the notification just in case you forget, because I know our memory spans aren't that great here. We ain't fucking that great here to remembering shit. So make sure you hit that notification bell. We'll let you know when I go live. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Again, there's always the Venmo and the PayPal. If you go back to the video, you can still take a picture of it. There's always a super thanks after the video is posted. And please make sure to do the free stuff at the very least. Thank you, Linda. I see you, Linda. Tip of the hat. I see you, Linda. Yeah, sorry I didn't get a chance to play more of the iHip clips. I know this show being only an hour long, I'm still trying to get used to and feel out how much I can get through, which always kind of differs depending on how much I have to say. So, I'll get there. I'll get used to it. And again, I'm really worried about stepping on the next person's toes. I don't want to go over. So, I'll get there. It's a long haul. It's not easy. It's a struggle. I've put myself in a place where I'm ready to fight, though. That's what I will say. I put myself in a position where I'm ready to fucking fight. I'm ready to take on anybody that comes at me and anything that comes at me. And I hope you guys will be by my side the entire way as we go into midterms to kick some fucking ass. All right. I'll see you tonight, though, guys. All right. I appreciate it. I'll see you later. I'm Boston Brian. Keep kicking ass. Tonight, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 Pacific. Jesse Dollemore. All right. I'll see you. Peace. Thank you, Mods. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, George. Thank you, Yakov. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Alioska. Thank you, Linda, Denise, Jimbo, Carol. Thank you so much. Sophie, thank you so much. Deslet, Mrs. Grove, thank you so much. Слава Украине, героям слава. Привет, медведь. Growing on me, George. It's growing on me. I know everybody liked the last one, but unfortunately we had some copyright issues. This one should be good, though. Hopefully. But It's not very good if you don't hit the button that makes it loop and repeat. Otherwise, it just kind of cuts back to you, and then you're just sitting there looking like a moron. Glad that didn't happen this time, though. Glad that I really meant to come back this time, and I was really hoping to pop back on. But yeah, I just had something really important to say, I think. No, I just didn't hit the button like an idiot. I appreciate it, though. I'll see you guys tonight.
Did I do that?
I'm standing up here bashing the living shit out of Nazis.
You referred to my hands. If they're small, something else must be small.
Hey, you got a little chubby going there.
Builds the wall the way he built Trump Towers, we'll be using illegal immigrant labor to do it.
You're a nation that just recently heard that Saudi Arabia and Russia will repeat your...
Oh, go fuck yourself. Is there anything worse than white people?
Army manned the air. It ran the ramparts. It took over the airports. It did everything it had to do.
Tell the director to call the White House. Do your fucking job!
Call them dumps, big massive dumps.
I'll see you tonight, guys. I appreciate you very much. Obama.
Obama.
Yesterday's a hard word.
Yesterday's a hard word for me. Vagina.
Vagina. You guys know J.D. Mandel.
We've endorsed JP, right? J.D. Mandel, and he's doing great.
I think he's drunk.
This guy's been drunk all day.
Maybe I'm drunk.
Brian, you're drunk. You're drunk.
All I know is the water.
Water coming here is dead.
The lights are off.
Oh, get those lights off! Off! Turn them off. They're too bright. Turn them off.
And even when I get good news, it's bad news.
Bad news, bad news. Even when it's good news, it's bad news.
Man, I ain't falling for no banana in my tailpipe.
The big, fat, sloppy United States.